If you've got a lot of back fat, especially around this lower area here, it can throw off your whole physique. It doesn't matter if you've got big shoulders or huge arms, love handles ruin the look. And it's really common for guys genetically to be the first place we put it on and the last place for it to go. So I'm gonna run you through exactly how I went from this to this in 100 days, doing less than before, because this bothers a lot of us fellas, and hard training doesn't guarantee you anything. I thought because I was lifting heavy weights and training 2 hours at a time, that it would eventually just sort itself out, but it didn't budge. And when I was recording one of my lifts to see what I could improve, it hit me. I didn't realize it had gotten to this point. Even though you see yourself in the mirror every day, sometimes things can go unnoticed until a moment like this. And I know this isn't awful shape, but when you're training 12 hours a week, your expectations are a bit higher. So I felt gutted, to be honest. And I was on holiday the following week with this new realization, and it knocked me confidence until I had a few beers. Then I was walking down the beach like McGregor, but as you know yourself, masking something with alcohol isn't the best thing to do. So this was a turning point, and the decision was made that it's time to fix it. If you'd like some of these transformation tips sent to your inbox, just sign up at the link in the description after you've watched this video. The first step in this process is to manage your expectations. Since working with loads of different guys, I've always noticed, and you've probably got onto this yourself, that we as men just store more fat in this area. I have a desk now. After doing a bit of research for this video, I found out it actually has a name. Look at this. This pattern is called android fat distribution. It's largely driven by testosterone. While it promotes muscle, it also influences fat storage to central areas of the body. Well, that's a bit shit, isn't it? The next part's even worse. Love handles and lower back fat contain a high density of alpha-2 adrenergic receptors. These receptors inhibit fat breakdown, making it harder to lose fat from these zones, even when dieting. This bit makes sense because, as you'll know if you've tried getting really lean before, it is the last place for it to go, and that's if you even get that far. Even for me, when I'm this lean, I've still got a decent pinch here, and this is normal, it's healthy. But in order for it to disappear, I'd have to drop more weight. But then it gets to a point where my face looks too skinny, I have quite crackish features anyway, sleep goes to shit, and performance in training takes a hit as well. So it can be done, but that just doesn't interest me right now. We're all different. You might not have to suffer as much as me to get it off, but I've always got a bit of a pinch going on, and I'm okay with it. Because there's other ways we can improve how your back looks. This is the fun part. First thing we're gonna do is build thickness. And there's 7 key muscles responsible for giving your back that powerful look. But we can make it a bit easier to remember and just think of it like this. Once you learn how to target these properly, your shape will change. The erectors are an important muscle group for aesthetics, but also for protecting your spine. If you've got kids, you'll know picking them up from awkward angles or putting them in the car can feel a bit dodgy sometimes. So having this extra armor helps. It also just helps back pain in general. I've had loads of shit lower back injuries where you can't even put your socks on for a few days. And it wasn't until I strengthened these muscles that those tweaks stopped happening. RDLs are gonna build them up. Even just holding on to a heavy weight like this can make your entire back sore the next day if you aren't used to it. Sore in a good way where everything feels pumped and worked, you know what I mean? Beginner or intermediate lifters might look at this movement and worry about hurting themselves or think deadlifts are bad. But if done properly and loaded correctly, they're safe. They're more than safe, they're amazing, but you don't have to do them. You can target the erectors with back extensions. Obviously not to the extent of holding this much weight, but they're still decent. Now we're moving up the back to this area. Pretty much any type of row movement is going to build out this mid and upper region. And you can play around with pulling at different angles to do slightly different things. So there's always a way to keep back training fresh. If you're not doing an RDL or a back extension, you should at least be doing a compound like this. Otherwise, you're just going to have a frail lower back. When you're doing a bent over row, think about pulling the bar up through your stomach and sit into your quads. They should be burning a bit if they're keeping you stable and solid. The sweet spot is around a 45-degree angle with the torso, but you're not going to whip a protractor out, are you? Basically not too high, not too low. Last thing to do is tense your abs in a way where this is tight, but you can still breathe throughout the set. A cue I like is just imagine you're going to get punched in the stomach. This helps you tense up. If your gym has one of these old school T-bar rows, I've got a technique that you might like. These are big muscles, and if you're not not doing RDLs or bent over rows, then they're not getting much action. If you arch your back at the top of the pull, it helps bring the erectors into it and it feels great on the entire back. So that's something you can experiment with for a bit, but also not doing that and just going really heavy on this is most certainly going to build out some thickness. Chest supported rows are a favourite for me because you're nice and stable and you can just comfortably load it up and go hard. To hit this mid and upper back area, I've found setting up your seat and pulling in a line that runs roughly through the top of your abs to be best. Try the wide overhand grip for a few months and then move on to the close grip for a few months and see how things feel. One mistake a lot of people make with all back work is letting the arms do too much. Your biceps should be getting smashed on pull work, but so should all of this. If you aren't feeling a major back pump, something needs tweaking. And it's usually coming from the setup, so here's a checklist to go through. Get your feet locked into a position where you feel solid. Create tension by engaging these lower muscles and opening up your chest rather than being slumped over it like this. And use straps so you don't burn out your grip. You can lift more weight for higher reps with these, so it's a no-brainer for building muscle. This last one has been a game changer for me. On my final set of most exercises, I squeeze out a few more half reps when I can no longer complete a full one. This is good for growth. You're finding a way to put more tension on the muscle after it's hit a wall, and it feels amazing. If you're someone who's not used to lifting like this, or you don't know what I'm going on about when I'm saying I love how it feels, because you've never really had that much control when lifting weights, then I just want you to know that it takes a few thousand reps for this to kick in. But once this becomes ingrained into your nervous system, you gain a new sense of control on making your muscle do what you want it to do. So you will get it. The next major contribution to a decent back is the V-taper. This makes your waist look smaller because it creates an illusion where if you do have some lower back fat going on, the emphasis is taken off it because your lats are so damn good. And there's a few technique tweaks you can make to really get them involved. First, I'm going to show you an example of not being super strict. This is still a great exercise, by the way, and it's something I do regularly. But because I'm leaning back quite a bit and my elbows are out to the side a bit and I'm pulling quite high on the chest, I'm hitting the lats, but also really feeling those upper back muscles in the thickness group I've just mentioned. I want to stress that this works. We don't have to overthink it. If you're good at this, you've probably got a decent back. But if you want to focus on being a bit more intentional, then we can get the lats involved more with some slight adjustments. Try close grip and think about keeping your elbows forward and driving this point down towards the floor. If you pull it and it lands higher up on the chest, you'll feel your upper back, but we've already covered that. So try and get it to land a little bit lower on the chest and you should feel the lats more. You can also do a variation of this with chin-ups. Same thing, think about pointing your elbows forwards, but shift your weight back slightly this time. You don't even need to go all the way up, chin above the bar. This feels best when you stop short of the top. Takes a few goes to get the hang of it, but give it a try and tell me what you think. Also, I'm a big fan of just normal and weighted pull-ups. If you haven't done much of these, you don't need to try any deeper techniques yet. To top all of this off, we need to hit the upper traps. That's these things by your neck. They're covered with heavy row work, but if it's something you want to build up even more, then get some shrugs in. There's all kinds of shrug variations where you can lean on a bench or you can set up a Smith machine. But I'll be honest, I've only done these because by the time I get around to them, I'm fucked and I can't be arsed setting anything else up. So just grab dumbbells and smash shrugs. Got a bonus one for you. Rear delts, responsible for giving your shoulders that round 3D look. I actually never trained this part directly until a few months ago. So in this picture here, there was no rear delt work yet. It's still a good, well-balanced back. But my shoulders are the best they've been so far with this addition. So I'd get them in if I was you. Again, there's plenty of variations, but with this being new, single arm cables are the only ones I've done so far. If you've got any favorites, let me know. So there you have it, the ultimate guide to transforming your back. Don't forget to take some pictures of your current shape. Even if you feel like shit and you can't be bothered, just do it because when you look back, you'll be proud of what you've done. Remember, if you want more transformation tips and you like actionable advice in written form, just sign up to our email list, it's free. If not, YouTube's got another video here that you'll like.